You're locked into AM 1090 and 92.7 FM. This is the Talk of the Town with Jim Prather.
Yes, Talk of the Town. We've got some guests in the studio, and we want to welcome these fine guests. Each and every one of these have been in the program before, so they're no strangers to this program, but we get them all together, and boy, we've got a lot to talk about. We've got the North Dakota Flagpole Guy. Jim is in the studio.
Good morning.
Good morning, Jim. The Chief of Staff at the Tioga Medical Center, Dr. Robert Rotering, also known as Dr. Bob, is back in the studio again. Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning. Great to be here.
And behind the camera, we've got Gina Footh. She is the co-owner of Lostwood Media.
Good morning.
Good morning, Gina. Great to have you here, and a lot to cover. Where to begin? That's the question. I guess we'll kind of center on the latest episode of the Flagpole Guy. We'll start there, in which Dr. Bob Rotering was a recipient of a very fantastic-looking flagpole. And how did that all start out, Jim, the Flagpole Guy?
Well, I got a phone call from Dr. Bob. He heard me on this wonderful radio program, KTGO, and he was interested in installing a flagpole at his family site, at their family cemetery. And, boy, immediately I just knew as soon as I talked to him, I was like, he's great. You know, he's a patriotic citizen, number one. He's a military veteran in the medical field, and I just felt a connection right away. And I asked him, boy, what a candidate, would you be a candidate for our next episode? Because, you know, ND Flagpole Guy Chronicles, it is I call it a mirror of the prairie. You know, you just hold up a mirror, you look at that video, and it's just a mirror of the greatness of the people of the prairie. And Dr. Bob fit right in.
Boy, I'd have to say it. You captured it right there. And Dr. Bob, the experience, I bet, was just phenomenal.
Yeah, of erecting the flag and being among fellow patriots, Gina, Jim, and we had fun in our own kind of way. We personally, manually erected 2 flags in series down there in southwestern North Dakota. And everything from being down in holes, digging foundations of real dirt manually ourselves, mixing our own concrete out there on the plains, slinging concrete bags, etc. We did it all, and it was a real sense of accomplishment and love, and basically erecting and propping up the principles of this country.
And the weather cooperated, too.
Beautiful. It was a 2-day project on the first flag, and that first evening was a typical classic, beautiful North Dakota sunset, and right across Highway 85 from about 2 blocks, there was actually a cattle roundup going on by horseback with the sunset, with the colors, with the beauty that is one of a kind in North Dakota.
Boy, I'd have to say that. You're so close to Medora, too, aren't you?
Yes. Where the cemetery is that we were putting the flags is only about 5 miles from the breaks of the Badlands, and you head north through the Badlands, and you're in Medora in 20 minutes.
What is the population again of Amidon?
Yeehaw. Good question. It's less than 20 at this point, I would assume. And one of the claims to fame of my hometown is that in my lifetime, it's been documented as the smallest county seat in the entire country. And I would guess now it's in the teens. It's rather bustling right now.
That is simply amazing. I must say you have a really nice array of different awards, too. I want to make sure we cover a lot of this stuff, too. Has it taken a while to earn these distinctive awards here?
I spent most of my career overseas, and I grew up an all-American boy in North Dakota. And one of the first, I have a little photograph over there, which is just symbolic of what this country will do for you if you do your part. And it's a little boy about 2 years old sitting in a tin tub in the kitchen of a ranch house that has no bathroom, no running water, no indoor plumbing facilities, and that's me. And a couple decades later, I'm training in surgery at the Mayo Clinic. And there's no limit to what this country will do for you, can do for you. And I brought that sort of in humor, but it's just an absolute symbol of what, again, the benefit of America, the bountifulness of America, and why we patriots ourselves together this morning and our listenership love this country.
Well, you are truly an American patriot. There's no doubt about it. These are wonderful and very distinctive. Not everybody can earn these. It's quite unusual.
The military doesn't give these away. And there are I've never brought these out before. Since I repatriated to the U.S., I had most of my career overseas. And basically, we are talking about love of flag, love of country, patriotism, and I thought they would be good talking points for basically where one person can go, what you can do as an individual, contributing at home and abroad. These are all from abroad, and I had most of my career overseas, and the first one there is an award from the U.S. Navy during the Reagan administration. My very first job was chief of surgery in helping to reconstruct Grenada after the Grenada War. And the Navy came down there, and one of the purposes of reclaiming Grenada was to stop the drug trafficking between South America and the U.S. And that was a Navy award that I was given for contributions that I made. The U.S. hydrofoil team came down there and worked in conjunction with the AWACS to interdict the maritime traffic of drugs. And I helped in every way I could. As a physician, the traumas that were incurred, the broken bones, the injuries, you name it, in a third world country. And I was very proud to receive a memento. It's signed on the back by the naval officers who were there at the time.
Well, it's a beautiful plaque. It's wonderful. I can't
treasure
tell you. It's wonderful to be able to see these, and it's not common. Again, it's very unusual.
They're very emotional for me. And,
yes.
And again, this was the first time that I've basically shared these pieces
Thank you
since
so
I've
much
been back in the States. Yes.
And you have again, you've spent a lot of time overseas, but you also did your medical training and so forth in Chicago, and you've lived in New York City, and you've been but you now are back in Tioga.
Back home. And basically I had my career overseas in 4 different locations: Caribbean, Near East, Middle East, Southeast Asia, and always working in settings where I felt most needed as a physician, but secondly, where I could contribute to U.S. interests, where I was. And it came to retirement age, and like yourself, I think we had very similar backgrounds. We both left our roots at about 18 years of age.
We did.
And we had yourself coast-to-coast career in the States and myself globally. And the question I faced at a certain retirement time, am I ready to retire from my career? And the answer was just no. I feel medically and professionally in the middle of it, and was thinking about where would I go on next. And I always loved where I grew up in North Dakota, and it did remain my home no matter where I was in the world. And I made a decision to come back home, and I'm glad I did. I
can tell you, we all are certainly glad you did.
Glad to be here with you.
You have really changed
my
the
kind of
landscape
people.
of so many different things. The report last night that you gave at the Tioga Medical Center annual meeting was phenomenal, and the state of that hospital where you're going is phenomenal. A lot of construction going on right now, and that's going to really be special. Share a little bit on that too, Doctor.
Yeah, we're going through a significant transformation in the last few short years up at Tioga Medical Center. We were primarily, a few short years ago, a primary care facility, and now we've become a true medical center. We have approximately 8 specialties there on a regular basis. Our operating room is working 6 days a week. And we have a major construction project going on now. We will be opening with Williston State College a 16-candidate RN program. That'll be starting August 1st. And we'll have a very busy, dynamic wellness center promoting, advocating all aspects of wellness, from nutrition to exercise to education. And it's our very own renaissance. And Team Tioga, Team North Dakota, you couldn't have better people from the community to the board of directors to the staff that have just accomplished so much, building on a previously very well-reputed medical center that attracted me to come back here and practice.
I must say I was quite impressed by the awards that were given out last night for folks that have been employed there. I mean, we're talking employees that have been there for 40-plus years.
Yes.
You folks must be doing something right to retain employees for that long.
People stay. It's
amazing.
A great place to work, and it's medicine the way it should be. Patient comes first, and basically we're unencumbered to do that, to keep the focus on the patient. And we've been able to see just a continuum of the progress that Tioga has made in the, again, very well-reputed medical center that Tioga has had here for decades. And again, we're in a renaissance period now, as is Tioga. I'm going on 6 years since I've been here.
Amazing.
There's been a new community center built, a new police headquarters, a new fire hall, a new museum,
New radio studio,
revitalized KTGO. It's happening here, and it's a great place to be. And I'm happy and fortunate to be here, and that's a perspective that I have of having been everywhere, from the Mayo Clinic in Rochester. I was at the University of Utah when we put in the world's first total artificial heart. I trained in New York. I lived around. And this is a very special place and a special time in Tioga. And I'm privileged to be here. I'm happy to be here.
We're so happy to have you here. We're very happy to have the North Dakota Flagpole man here, too. And you got your start probably outside of North Dakota. Was it Michigan?
Yeah, originally I'm from Michigan. Mm-hmm. And I was one that came, in a pickup with a camper for oil. And I had a job before I came, so I didn't have to live at Walmart.
Yes.
But I did live in a camper for 6 months and operated tractor trailer and hauled equipment and pipe for great people. And
you got the experience the winter in the trailer, by the way?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
it was minus 30 December 6th, 2011, or December 16th. It was just very cold.
Yeah.
I arrived at 2 a.m. and I woke up at 5:30 and reported for work. And it felt like home. You know, being from Michigan, my roots are there, but I felt like I needed to move on. My kids were all grown, and I didn't have intention of staying here originally, but it just felt like home, and opportunity spoke. And one thing led to another. I met a beautiful woman, and I didn't think it would ever happen again, but we got married, and a wonderful family.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. And we make a great team. And she supports me. Miss Brenda is a beautiful person. And then, as I was listening to Scott Hanna and What's on Your Mind one morning in 2016, a gentleman called and says, "Where do I get a flagpole?" Just a fragile, you could tell, a great older man. And I immediately said, well, call the flagpole guy, because back in Michigan there was a flagpole guy. And this was decades ago, but my dad used them for 2 properties. And so moving on, nobody could tell the guy really where to get a decent flagpole. So I did some research, and then I'm like, I got to do this.
That's amazing.
So the day that we got licensed and insured, I got a job for a flagpole, and 400 later.
Wow.
What an experience. So this segment right here is all about Dr. Bob and his testimony of America, and I get to live that over and over and over and see the tears in people's eyes when they see that flag up for the first time.
Yeah, I got to witness the video, and I felt, probably not the 100% sentiment, but I was there with you folks, and it is a moment to really cherish when that flag goes up there. And erecting that pole was special.
Myself, having seen the carnage of war around the world and be a part of it, and there in our little cemetery in Nowheresville, North Dakota, where over 20 veterans are interred from the many wars. And it's rare. You can count on one hand, I'm sure, that they got any recognition when they were interred there. And myself, having seen overseas, the Easter sunrise services, tributes to soldiers who had fallen days, weeks, months before. And, it just burns your heart, with love and respect and patriotism. But it was an opportunity through Jim to basically pay tribute, finally, to these individuals who put it all on the line for us so that we could sit here today in respect and admiration of our country, freedom of speech, and the privileges that we have in America that many overseas, where I've lived, don't have.
I'm so happy that you were able to capture all of that. Compliments of Lostwood Media. Behind the camera, we're looking at the camera. That's Gina over there. And Gina, that was a wonderful experience. You did capture that. I mean, you can really get the sentiment of that moment, and such a beautiful time. I mean, we were able to follow that as these gentlemen were experiencing that, and it was captured on video, and the whole world can see it now.
Yes, and then my great husband, the better half of Lostwood Media, with his drone work, really helps capture that in another perspective that you don't see on the ground. So
it's wonderful. And we'll share a few more thoughts on it. We got to take a quick little break here. We do want to wish a very happy birthday, and that'll be coming up next as we continue on with Talk of the Town here on KTGO, The Flag. Hey, Spence, what do we have for time here, sir? Okay, and then is this the last stop set of the hour then? You can kind of give us a cue here? Okay. Beautiful. Oh, let's go back. Welcome back to Talk of the Town, and again, we've got a number of guests in the studio. We want to introduce each and every one of them. Gina Footh, Lostwood Media, is in the studio. Dr. Bob Rotering, Chief of Staff for Tioga Medical Center, and also Jim, the North Dakota Flagpole Guy. We were talking about leaving a legacy, that latest episode of the Flagpole Guy, and Dr. Bob is the recipient of that flagpole. And Jim, how did you come up with getting the Lostwood Media involved with your enterprise there?
We were born for such a time as this, and I just felt in my heart I needed to share that. Mm-hmm. And it was actually Dennis Lindahl, thank you, Dennis, had set me up with Gina, and my wife and I had lunch with Gina and Wayne, mm-hmm. and we were just rattling off ideas, and we had the same. It was like the same inclinations.
That is amazing. Yeah, meant to be.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, so we've done 5 episodes already, and it's not only the stories of all the people that we've talked to, but it also follows Jim's backstory as well. How he got here, being on Scott Hennon's show, and we have special guests on there, like Scott Hennon's on there and Todd's on there. So and now we get to have you, so it's nice to kind of make the rounds around the Flag family, because it's the other character in this Chronicles. But the thing is we're also looking for another season. So we're looking for others who are thinking of putting up a flagpole or refurbish their flagpole or get a new flag, to have Jim come out there and be part of an episode and tell their story, because everyone has a story. And it's just amazing to see, well, why are you getting a flagpole? Why do you have a flagpole? What's your family history? What's your legacy that you want to leave behind? And so I want to be able to tell those stories as well. And Jim's really good. Such a great character to watch, and just so lovable. And his dog, can't forget Tripper. Tripper is the other character in the Chronicles. But also funding. Anyone who maybe they don't want to tell their story, but they think this is important to get out and to have these stories be told. If they want to help out with the funding of putting these together, that would be very appreciated. And they can do that by contacting either Jim or I, but mostly Jim would be a good contact for that.
And, of course, Have Camera will travel, Have Flagpole will travel.
Yeah, and this is all on the fly. This is true run and gun. Pick your cameras, get your stuff together, formulate the story as you're going down the road, and really getting it live.
It is awesome. And, Jim, you like the experience, don't you?
I love the experience. I do.
You folks captured, was it about 45 minutes worth of video with Dr. Bob? You make it look like it's kind of seamless. It just kind of happens, in that 45-minute period. But there was actually more time involved, right?
Oh, sure.
To shoot. How much time did it take to shoot Dr. Bob here with his video?
Oh, I guess we were at it all day, creating content, but she was just basically following what we do every day. So it wasn't really work; it was just sharing the joy of it.
I must say, I enjoyed watching it. I'm going to watch it again. I've saved it for my wife. She's going to be taking a look at it today, and highly encourage people to take a look at it again. To look at this particular episode and other Flagpole Guy episodes.
It would be nice to have some reviews come in too, because it's always nice to get feedback.
Yes. And again, where can we look at the video one more time here?
You can go to YouTube and just punch in Lostwood Media, go to our channel, and we have a playlist that's available to watch from that. So all 5 episodes will easily pop up. And we created a playlist on Rumble. So if you just punch in ND Flagpole Guy or Flagpole Guy in the channel section, you'll find it.
And it's beautiful. I mean, you're going to see some North Dakota land out in Abaddon that's just absolutely gorgeous. You really captured that, too. And no wonder you really want to go back home. It's so beautiful.
It is. We have exceptional. Are we the least visited state in the 50? It's unimaginable when you actually get in here and see the beauty of the skies, the sunsets, the clouds, the Badlands, the wide open spaces. It's an exceptionally beautiful state.
Truly is.
Gina really and her company really nailed that, and it was wonderful being a part of that, promoting not only our country, our flag, but the beauty, the state itself.
It's absolutely beautiful, and it's wonderful that you folks were able to make it in today, and we thank Lostwood. Gina, thank you so much for coming in. Mr. North Dakota Flagpole Man Jim and Dr. Bob, thank you for being here. We're going to wrap this program up. We've got Fox News coming up at the top. This is AM 1090, FM 92.7, KTGO Tioga, 8 o'clock. And that's it.
And that's a wrap.
Good.
Beautiful. That went really quickly.
I know it does. I'm like watching the time.
That was set a new record. We've never had 2 segments like that. It worked out really well.
Yeah, seamless.
We needed the time. We just had to get it all in there, so that's good.
Yeah.
I hope we were able to get everything that you wanted to discuss, so we appreciate everything.
Yeah, I think so. I think.
Where do we go from here now? What happens now?
I'm training a new guy, Benjamin.
Oh, very cool.
Due to the overwhelming amount of response that I get, I just can't keep track of it anymore.
Yes.
And last year, I had a problem with my website, and I didn't know about it, but I'm just plugging along, right? And I finally figured out a problem. I had 962 unread requests for flagpoles.
Wow. Your work is just beginning.
That's the power of radio.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping to tag Jim on his way out of town this morning. At the front entrance of Tioga Medical Center has one of his new flags. Basically, it's just in the ground. And we're planning, with support of the American Legion in Tioga, to create a monument there. And we have old brick from the construction of the hospital, but to build a nice, I've talked to Jim, build a nice foundation, probably get a granite carved stone with the marquee of the medical center, and a newer, taller flag that's floodlit. We're up on the hill up there, and nice. You'll be able to see that for...
That's really nice.
And it'll bring attention to our front entrance. It'll illuminate that area at night with families coming and going all through the night. And it'll be a spiritual, inspirational tribute to Tioga and to our own My Pillow guy. You know, how he just gets this done, and I was just so thankful that anybody would come to Amadon, you know, and basically,
really cool.
You know, put themselves out for what we were trying to do there. Gina and her husband and etc. to come down there, and now I think per year, thousands of people, when they think they're in the middle of nowhere, driving on Highway 85, Canada to Texas, drive by that cemetery and see these two beautiful flags, and thoughts, feelings, inspiration, appreciation, you know, that goes on, and it's a great feeling.
That is really a great feeling.
Yeah.
Again, you know, it was captured, and you know, it's really nice that they're able to chronologize some of this. If only they could have been there at all 400 of those flagpole erections.
Well, that's what we're going to try and do this year. Is every time we arrive, we're going to create content. Now, we may not drag Gina around, but with the phone, I just want to set up a little tripod, create some content, and then turn it all over to Gina and let her...
Do you have time restraints because of the seasons? I mean, you have to get it done at a certain time. The ground will freeze.
Yeah.
So how many months are you able to do all these flags?
From May 1st to around Christmas.
Wow.
Depending on the season.
Depending on the season.
Mm-hmm. But you'll be able to watch the progress up at the medical center, you know, once we get going there. And hopefully it's going to become a recognizable aspect of Tioga Medical Center.
You know it will. I believe it will.
Yeah,
I really will.
Both schools have our flagpoles.
Police station.
Wow.
Community center. It's the prayer flag Saturday morning.
Golf club.
Yeah, you've got half a dozen.
The golf club. Also, there's a gentleman right over here across the street. He has one.
And you can really tell Jim's flags, the quality, that special appearance of the metal, and the, I don't know all the engineering terms, but how they rotate, the don't wrap, the, you know.
Well, and it's interesting how big they can be, because our first episode, Big Old Glory, is done in Mandan at the car lot. How long?
80 feet.
80 foot long flag.
Wow.
15 by 25
flag. The vets
flag.
are unfolding this flag. And it's just a team of them unfolding this flag and raising it. That was a moment.
Wow. Yeah, that's a feat there.
Yeah.
My gosh.
Yeah.
Takes a little wind to blow that one around a little bit.
Wow. It's funny too when you go up on a flagpole, you know, you go up, it's calm down here, all of a sudden up here, it's just like, whoa, it's windy.
I have to ask, I mean, that's a pretty big circumference on a flagpole. So in other words, when you have a big flag that big, I mean, it's going to require a pretty hefty pole.
Flagpole, yes.
And it's going to have some good footing.
And the wall
This
thickness
is serious engineering.
We're seriously, we're serious.
Jim had his laser out in the holes we're digging in Amadon.
Wow.
About the exact dement that it takes, to withstand the winds, etc. And fortunately, he's got the engineering and construct to do this right. And
how many feet do we have to go down? Just curious on some of these flagpoles.
Well, 80-footer is 9'9".
9'9". Oh my
See,
God.
and we haven't gotten that part of the information in. We're getting some more of the technical stuff, but I think it's important to show, because people like to know how things are done and what goes, the engineering that goes behind it.
And then Jim fussing about the quality of the concrete we were mixing. Too dry, more sand, more concrete. Is that stop? No, ready now.
It's got the right consistency to hold up, huh?
Say.
Yeah, he's learned. Like the second episode, we go and talk to that one guy. We visit his first flagpole that he puts up, and he had made some mistakes the first time around, so he came back to correct those mistakes because he'd learned since then.
Wow, good way to do it.
Yeah, so it was neat to go visit the first customer and get and he was a remarkable guy.
John Seal.
John Seal. Yes. So, boy, he has some stories.
Yeah. Out of all the ones that you've done, obviously every story is special, but are there certain stories that really stand out that you've done?
Well, Mike, and this is kind of weird. This is south of Fargo. Mm-hmm. We installed a flagpole for a lady, and they were kind of standoffish. Yeah, we want it out there, and they're busy or whatever. Then she came home, total different. I totally misread them. Mm-hmm. She come out, she was crying. It's so beautiful, and she's so her emotions showed the love she had for her father, who had fought in the Korean War, and he was changed after that war, and she just so loved her dad, and what that flagpole brought all that back, and that to me was the most inspirational.